stuff. So you'll see Nation Star, big bank. Well, we can read, agents, please note this listing is subject to homesearch.com. You guys ever heard of HomeSearch? Mm-hmm. Let's bring it up. These are brand new. They're starting to pop up a lot. They kind of, first time I ever saw them was just barely last year. And now they're starting to use it a lot more. HomeSearch is similar to Hubzu and stuff, where it is just another, kind of like even HUD, like we just looked at. It's another website that REO banks are using to sell their, or to go through the bidding process for their properties. So see, this is what's kind of cool, like Hubzu. It shows you, HUD doesn't do this, but these guys disclose the current bid. And like this one only has 44 minutes to go. It's got a little ticker. It's kind of cool. Like eBay.
It is.
That probably stirs a lot of.
So which city did you put in there?
She just did
That was
Utah.
just Utah.
Okay.
Is that
That's
one,
why we're getting Clinton and
is that
Midvale.
one cash or?
Yeah, what little
No, none of these are cash. Yeah, none of these are. I mean, it'll say, jump back to the MLS. Usually the listing agent will say, they're saying cash conventional. Rarely will you ever see it at an REO bank, any of these, say that it is FHA approved. There's a good chance that this home could meet FHA standards and you could get FHA financing, but they never want to warrant that, and so they always just leave it off. And so, don't hold a lot of weight. But yeah, all of these are, you can get financing. But how cool is this? I mean, a Midvale home, 3-bed, 1-bath, and it's interesting because it says, oh, it's 1,100 square feet. But even just looking at that, I guarantee it's bigger. A lot of these places don't put basements because national websites, Utah is like one of the only states, and Bill's nodding his head because he knows what I'm talking about.
It is true.
One of the only states that like considers an unfinished basement as square footage.
That's true.
Even just a basement in general, a lot of places like you just don't count even if it is finished, you don't count the basement in a lot of other states because it's a basement. But here in Utah, we're like, we love our basements. And we put basements in every house. It's like you go to the East Coast and like, whoa, a basement? That's weird. You know?
Almost every other state, there's just not basements.
People just don't build basements.
I got a listing in Payson, it's killing me because there's no basement. It's like $153 a square foot, and that's just like.
And there's no basement. And that's how that's because that's how we were all. Half of us spent our teenage years like down in the basement, you know, like that's the cool thing to do. But really, I mean, chances are they do have a little basement under here, and it's really like an 1,800 square foot home, and you're at 105. Isn't that insane?
That's a deal. So how do you submit offers to this? Through the website like that, like you did with
Yeah,
the?
put your details on one of these. Put one together.
Does this site have a 5% fee to the winning bid?
Yeah.
We'll find out. I actually don't know. I've never done a home search home before.
It's set it on the MLS, but it does.
It does? Yeah, so what are they? Dan, speak up. What are you talking about?
I've had a couple. There's another website that Nation Star uses. It's called auction.com.
Auction.com.
And so on a lot of their short sales, if they have an offer, they'll throw it up on auction.com as a last-ditch effort to get a better offer. And every time I've had it, the bid goes up to a certain amount, and I'm 100% positive it's auction.com who's like bidding the price up, and they're just hoping that the buyer who has an offer currently is going to get nervous and then up the bid a little bit.
Huh.
So have you looked at this? So it says starting bid one previously valued at $450,000.
It's probably like a number they pulled off of Zillow for a Z estimate like that.
I'm going to lump those all together. So it's HomeSearch, Hubzu, Auction.com. So these sites are all real similar. Pull up another tab and go to Hubzu, for example. And it's the same where it discloses you the top price, you bid over the website, and then like HUD Home. And Hubzu's getting really popular, you guys. You'll see that I already saw on that list of 50, there's like 6 or 7 that are Hubzu right now. I'm making an offer on this one right now in St. George. That one's super hot. So the listing agent that lists all these Hubzu properties here in Utah, there's actually a couple of agents, but one of them, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Go back to utahrealestate.com. Let's find one. Just go down a little bit. Is it this one? Keep going, keep going. No, keep going.
So I don't understand this, Clay, because I'm still back on HomeSearch.
Mm-hmm.
And this house is huge, and it's saying starting bid 147. So, and it said value at 450,000, and it's a really nice house. So how do they play this? Do
It's
people wait
auction
to the
style.
last minute?
They start at $1 and you work your way up, or you start at $100,000 and you work your way
So
up.
I wonder how you play this. You wait for a last minute.
Well, what's
bid.
interesting is, none of these are the right one. Yeah, see, this is another home search. So let's go back to home search. Let's talk about those for a second. So this one's $280 on Spyglass, and sometimes, you know, previously valued at. Sometimes the MLS will even be an entirely different number. Like that St. George home I was just talking about, it's on the MLS right now for like 105. The starting bid is at like 77. But then what I did for my clients, he said, look, how do we even approach this? You got to just do a CMA. Take the time to say, okay, what are our recent sales? Do a CMA. Because you might find out that, hey, yeah, Midvale, a good home like that, probably was that, but don't just go off that.
Yeah,
Go
right.
do a CMA. You'd probably find out that a home like that, Midvale, one-car garage, you're probably looking about 185, right? So it's like, okay, 185, you just sold a home in Midvale, right? 185 is probably about right, so it's like 105, yeah, that's great. We'll go up to 150. That would be kind of our max.
So when it says reserve not met, that means that, is that the bid
Yeah.
increment?
It's just like eBay. Nation-Star or Nationwide or whoever this is probably gonna come in just like eBay and say, look, we have a reserve that's
We're not gonna
undisclosed.
Yeah.
That, and maybe that's at 150 or something. So
Okay.
we've got to at least get above that. These do get run up at the last minute. Hubzoo is like the last. In fact, go back to click over to Hubzoo. It's funny. They have this new little thing. Click on one of these houses. And if you go to the bid process, they just implemented this in like the last couple of months because it wasn't this way last year when I did these. But when you go to make an offer, I think it's set, yeah, right here. They just added this. Bidding end time will extend by 15 minutes when a new bid is entered within the last 15 minutes of the bidding. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people wait until like 30 seconds and then bid, you know? And then finally they come out and say, look, if that happens, it's just going to extend 15 minutes and it's just going to extend until finally somebody just gives up. I think that's genius. Genius to do that.
I had a question, so on this one, I have a client that wants to see one in Eagle Mountain, it's a Hubzoo one.
Yeah, everyone wants to see that one. I know exactly the one that's $47 a square foot right now. I know exactly the one you're talking
So
about.
with
It
that
came on
one-
our hot sheet.
To see it, are you, to walk through it, what's the process if you wanted to see it? I mean, because it sounded like.
Great question. So
Oh,
I started to say this earlier. I got a little ahead of myself. Hubzoo properties, the listing agent for these Hubzoo properties is in like Tennessee. She's got her license here in Utah. Like her number is like an 809 number, not an 801 number. And so all they do is they have these little service, these field service managers in all different states, and they're the ones that go out and winterize the house and stuff. And I'm pretty sure these listing agents just mail them a sign and like tell them to go to Home Depot and buy a combo lockbox to like put in front of the house. And the sign doesn't even have the listing agent's name or anything. It just says, for more information, go to hubzoo.com. It's kind of crazy how it works. But then like to see it, every one of these properties are vacant. You know, they're all REOs. You don't have to worry about that. And they're usually just on a combo box, and the instructions are going to be on the
so
MLS.
just try and see them during the day, I guess.
Yeah, because there's no power on it most things, or take
Do you
flashlights.
have to be
Yeah.
a realtor to bid on these sites? Like, does you have to use a license?
I believe so. Yeah, I know Hubzoo does for sure. I don't know about. I think all three of them. Dan, you did an auction.com. You
Yeah.
have only agents can bid, right? 'Cause
I was just keeping an eye on it because it was like a short sell and we had like a real offer, and I was watching it to make sure nothing better came in. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if
I
only
The
agents can
public
bid.
Yeah, I think you normally have to have an agent because these sites are crazy to work with once you win the bid. So you get HUD, you deal with the people at Matt Martin or Pemco or Home Telos. By the way, Home Telos is the one you want to work with. They're much better than the other two, in my experience again. Hubzoo, you win your bid, you immediately get the email. Again, you don't do any dealing with a listing agent. You're going to get contacted from the Hubzoo people, and they're all in India.
Oh, nice.
So your emails come at 3 in the morning. The phone calls you get are long distance. Hello, welcome to the Quickie Market. It's hard. It's hard to deal with.
So after you place the bid,
Yeah.
You just do your CMA and you decide with your clients what they can afford.
Yeah, what the amount is.
Then you place your bid and then you're notified after this time period, is that right?
Yeah, so you do the bid, you gotta wait a couple of days to win, but when you're doing, oh, never mind.
But does it let you know, it doesn't let you know what previous bids are, right?
Yeah, no, it does.
Oh, really?
It tells us right here that the highest bid,
Where is that? Because I'm looking for it and I don't see it.
it just says starting bid, but it will say, I guess nobody's bid on this property yet. It isn't Vernal, after all. Yeah, it shows you the bid history, it shows you everything. Now, the trick with Hubzu is Hubzu has 2 fees that are in addition to normal closing costs and whatnot. All of Hubzu's, and I think even auction.com and home search, they always have this little technology fee of like $300 that your buyer has to pay for. In addition to that, Hubzu normally has a, yeah, see, nobody's bid on this. We're waiting to get down to the last minute to bid on this one too. But a lot of these will say, let's see if it says it just right under. Scroll down a little bit.
So I keep asking questions, but so is there an amount they have to get? And
Yeah,
how
there's
do you-
always a reserve price.
So you have no idea what that is. So you can throw your bid in at the last minute, but if it's not what they have to get,
Yeah, it goes, then it goes back.
It will say reserve not met if it hasn't met that threshold yet.
okay.
Yeah,
So you
reserve
just
back.
keep going up until you hit
15
Yeah.
minutes before, kind of as a strategy.
Yeah, I usually wait kind of till the last minute. Most people do, but just be ready, have your client on their computer, everything. I'm trying to get, I don't see it here, so I'll just tell it to you. Hubzu's normally say that they have this buyer premium fee, and it's a boatload of cash. It's like 4% sometimes of the purchase price. So a lot of times they'll say, oh, you want this house? Congratulations, you want it for $77,000, but you're gonna pay your own owner's policy for the title, because that's what other states do. But you've got to pay this premium fee. Oh yeah, oh, good job. I can't really see, like.
how do you take click on that?
Yeah, so you're always going to pay the technology. Click on that little info button. Now that's technology. Maybe the one below. One of these is going to say, that's just earnest money. So it might not be on this one. Not all of them have it. I've done 2 Hubzu. One had it and one did not have it. Sometimes it'll say, this is it.
Where did you find that one?
So it doesn't say what it is though. It's like, oh, right here. The greater of either $625 or 4.5% the bid amount. So we're talking like $5,000 here.
In addition to their down payment and their.
And in addition to closing costs, all that. I was gonna say, I knew it was on there, I was just overlooking that.
And the earnest money's higher as well, the greater
Yeah.
5% or 1,000, and then you got.
Yeah, 5% or 1,000. Yeah, they're nuts. Now here's the good thing, guys. What's good about stuff like this? Who does it scare away?
Talks a lot of people out of it.
It scares the first-time home buyers away, which means our price is going to stay low, and it makes it more prime for investors to pick up. They don't have requirements here that say, HUD homes, for example, you've got to be first-time home buyers to get in on it. These, no restrictions.
Now,
So
are
your
these
investors
on the
can do this.
MLS, or you can only view them on this site?
They are on the MLS. They have to be on the MLS.
Okay.
So HUD homes are only for first-time home buyers?
The first 10 days, yeah. And it
Oh,
says
okay.
they have their little first look initiative. And same with, when we're going to
Home
jump
path.
to, we're running out of time.
After that, it
But we're going to do home path.
That's beautiful.
And home steps. You didn't even see this. So let's go through some of these. Do we have any home path on here? Keep going. What's this one? Okay, so this is probably just a regular. See, immediately I just say, how does the offer? This tells you so much. If it says email offers, just like Bustos, and it's like, okay, it's just a regular REO. Otherwise, it's going to say, go to Hubzu, go to Home Search, or go to Home Path and Home Steps. Home Path is Fannie Mae's program. Home Steps is Freddie Mac's. Now, they don't always go to those programs. Chances are that Bustos one we just saw could have been a Fannie Mae, not in Home Path. Those do exist. It's not everything goes to there, so it could just be outside of Home Path, Home Steps. Let's talk about Home Path, Home Steps. Why are those so cool? What's different about home path and home steps, different than all these other ones we've talked about?
Yeah,
You
zero
can get no
penalty.
mortgage insurance with as little as 3% down.
Okay, so home path has that little special financing.
No appraisal.
Sometimes you can get it with the appraisal. What about the home itself? What could be special about the home itself?
Usually undervalued, right?
New
Let's get
carpet
the
a lot of
price.
times, new paint.
Dan just said it, yeah, it could be fixed up. So I've got some personal friends of mine that I went to high school with. Their full-time job is they are the ones that go in and slap on the paint, slap on the carpet. The idea is that Home Path and Home Steps created, or Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac created Home Path and Home Steps, this whole little division, say, hey, when we foreclose on these junky homes, we want to send them to this organization that's going to fix them up and get them to that FHA required standard. And then we're going to sell them. So it's kind of the government's way of saying, hey, we do want to revitalize some of these neighborhoods. They used to do it on HUD homes. I don't see it very often anymore. Maybe they still do, but I have sold some HUD homes where it's like new carpet and paint. I'm like, oh, HUD paid somebody. Might be, but they don't do it anymore. Now, you see almost every time, escrow $3,000 to do the fixes yourself because we don't want to touch it. But Home Path, Home Steps will do it. I was doing a Home Steps home a couple of years ago. We were in the middle of the due diligence process. The swamp cooler up on the roof was leaking, filled up the attic, roof caved in one of the bedrooms. We said, this is terrible. We're supposed to close in 2 weeks. Like, what are you going to do? They called up Home Path and said, hey, we have this problem. Home Path said, send that crew back out. We'll pay for everything. They came in, they fixed it, they took the swamp cooler off for us and just stubbed it so we could put in AC later on. And we negotiated almost like a regular deal dealing with like a human, you know, like when normal sale deals. It was great. And the reason I'm telling you this is when your clients are like, hey, you know, I see this Home Steps home, is that a good or a bad buy? My initial response, especially if they're owner occupying the home, I say, oh man, you want Home Steps, you want Home Path. These are the best cream of the crop foreclosures out there because they can do fixes.
So a few years ago, I bought a Home Path home, and my other option was like FHA. I think I was like at the time I could spend like 185 FHA, but with the no mortgage insurance on Home Path, I could spend 200, and and my payment was the exact same.
Isn't that incredible? That's awesome. That's incredible.
And I don't know if it's still in play, but you can, if these are past the first look, which are for owner occupied, you can get these on investment loans for 10%
For 10% down. And they'll normally say that. Chances are is that period they almost always get bought up. So again, what she was just referring to, HUD homes and these Home Path Home Steps always have an initial first look window. It's usually 10 days, sometimes 15 days, where only owner occupants can bid. If it gets to that point and nobody's bid, then they'll allow investors to bid. But it rarely gets to that point because right now, I don't know what the stat is, but I'm pretty sure we're still hovering around 80% of our sales in Utah County are first-time home buyer driven. It's really high right now.
So did you say these are 0 down or 3% down? Or what's the
Home Steps has a little 3% down. Home Steps and Home Path have a little 3% down program. But these are always interesting. Highest and best due tomorrow at 5 p.m. And this is Steve. You guys all, you know, we all know Steve Kohler. He does a lot of these here in Utah County. But this is interesting. Have you guys ever been going through the MLS and you're like, you see the perfect home, you're like, oh, I want this, and then you look at the remarks and it says, offer accepted, awaiting signatures. You see that, right? We see that all the time. And the reason for that is because a lot of these organizations, and Home Path and Home Steps, they have their own website too, that you submit the offer through their website. You win the bid, but then it takes us 3 to 5 days after the bid, and HUD's the same way. After HUD Homes, you know, you win the bid to get that paperwork all filled out and signed by the bank. I've had some take up to 2 weeks before, and during that process, Utah State says, hey, until you have signatures, the MLS wants you to stay active, but the agent's just going to say, look, we have a winner, go away. So pay attention to those, and if you see it and someone says, well, it says they've already accepted the bid, they're just awaiting signatures, can we sneak in and do something? Absolutely not. I mean, those are done deals because the process, you go to homepath.com, that home will be gone. You won't even be able to click on it because it's gone, so pay attention to that. And again, HUD Homes is about 48 hours. You got to send the contract to them by overnight mail because they want the original blue ink. But normally, do tell your clients from the time that we win our bid to the time that we actually have that contract signed by the bank, plan on a week. I've had some take 2 weeks. Hopefully it really is just 3 to 5 days.
So Clay, run through that again. We do the offer through the website,
Mm-hmm.
it gets accepted, then we send the wet signatures in within 48 hours, and then.
For HUD homes.
Oh, so. wait,
Yeah,
on
so
the
let's talk about
remaining-
home
yeah,
steps.
What's the process with the
So in home
remaining
steps-
stuff?
Well, let's see, does he say in here, send all offers to, okay, so what she's saying is that she'll take the offers, and that she's gonna, because Home Steps is, Home Path is over their website, Home Steps not so much. So she's saying, you send me the stuff, you send the stuff to Jennifer, and then she'll submit it for you. Now, she's probably gonna say, but it needs to be on a Home Steps contract, so if you click on attached documents, she probably has the stuff in there that you need.
Once you agree to terms
Yeah.
with them, they'll send you like a 13-page addendum. It says basically all the exact same stuff that's on our purchase contract. It's just that it's on their purchase contract.
That's on an addendum, which is funny, yeah. So she'll send it, she actually writes it for you too, after you negotiate terms, she'll write it. And that's actually one reason why I really like Steve and Jennifer and these guys and how they do it, is they're a lot more hands-on in making sure you get it all right and submitted and it's all done right. When you're doing HUD homes and a lot of that stuff, it's like you were on your own. It's you and that dude in India trying to like figure things out. It's painful. So as you guys like have experiences and learn these, we gotta help each other out. Yeah.
One thing I think is important to keep in mind, whether it be HUD, Home Steps, whatever, they're not going to give you any sort of seller property condition disclosures. So just educate your buyers and let them know a home inspection is all the more important on one of these because they're not giving you any sort of information whatsoever. Even on the HUD homes, like where they've done an appraisal or whatever, you know, it's still a really good idea to have a thorough home inspection.
It's not only a good idea, it's required. If you sell a foreclosed home to a buyer and there's no seller disclosures and you don't force your client to do an inspection, I'm gonna kick your butt. You ought to, because you're gonna get sued and end up, you're gonna, yeah.
Trouble.
Ugh. That is like the stupidest thing anyone could ever do.